We see our President, Joko Widodo, with the First Lady, Iriana Widodo, now entering the venue of the Garuda Wisnu Kencana in Bali.
And if we see the scenery, it's so wonderful.
It's breathtaking because,
It's
spectacular.
breathtaking and everything spectacular.
And the President and the First Lady, followed by the Foreign Affairs Minister, Retno Marsudi, and also the first day of the G20 summit will be concluded by the welcoming
Gala dinner
reception. Yeah, that's right.
So there's going to be performances, art performances, as well as musician performances here at the Garuda Wisnu Kencana, and hoping that the 17 nation leaders, perhaps not all of them would be attending, but this would be a very, very nice to conclude the day of the first summit of G20 in Bali.
Yeah, and I wonder what culinary of Indonesia are going to be presented at the dinner.
Oh,
Certainly, because they are now in Bali, I will be sure that the local cuisines will be served, like, I don't know, the food from, like the Balinese food,
cuisine.
Balinese cuisine, like ayam betutu, or like lawar,
Sate lilit.
sate lilit, that's right, that's right.
So we see now, Mr. Gianni Infantino, FIFA president, is now entering the venue.
And we will see more state leaders will be coming to Garuda Wisnu Kencana. And in the background earlier, we saw the electric vehicles, one of the electric vehicles being used in the course of the G20 summit. And if we see earlier, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Retno Marsudi, was welcoming Gianni Infantino. And certainly, Her Excellency is one of the key people, key persons, key personalities in the G20 summit. And it is actually quite remarkable to see how two of the key personalities in the G20 summit are actually women. We saw Retno Marsudi and also
Minister of
Finance, Sri Mulyani Indrawati.
And also, if you see the chair of B20 this year is also a woman, the first chairwoman actually.
Sinta Kamdani.
Sinta Kamdani.
Yeah, and I also heard that they're gonna wear traditional costumes. So each one of them is gonna be given different traditional costumes that represent each province in Indonesia.
So earlier we saw our president, the Indonesian president Joko Widodo, and the First Lady wearing the traditional Balinese costume.
Yes.
And
very, very
regal.
majestic, regal, that's right.
Very regal. And according to the Minister of Tourism, he hopes that there will be an increase in the sales of
traditional costumes, creative products, MSMEs. But one big thing that Minister Sandiaga Uno already mentioned, that there is already an increase of Balinese economy growth from 3% to 8% during the G20 side events up to the summits today, and hoping that by having the eye of the world focused to Bali during the summit, this will be a good promotion to the world that Bali is ready to welcome the guests from all over the world.
So the location where
post-pandemic.
Yes, true. And the location of the welcoming dinner reception is located in Garuda Wisnu Kencana. As you saw earlier, the construction is actually one of the highest in Indonesia, and seem to be one of the highest also in the world. And it is designed by Nyoman Nuarte, correct me if I'm wrong.
It actually takes quite a long time as well.
Yeah, true.
Because it's so gigantic and very, very meticulous as well, monumental. Even if you come during the day, you can have very, very nice pictures.
Now
and at
you
night,
see
with you know, laser
with the lights
and all that. That will be
very complimenting.
And here you see the Indonesian president and the First Lady wearing the traditional Balinese costume, welcoming all the delegates. We saw earlier, was that, okay.
And earlier we saw a lot of the ministers from the cabinet as well have already attended the at the venue. waiting
saw-
for the international guests.
We saw Zulkifli Hassan, Yasona Lauli, and we also
Mr. Pratikno as
Mr.
well.
Pratikno as well, and the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy himself, Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno. And here it is, we are seeing another leader just arrived at the venue.
You know what? I'm really wondering how the art performance would be like.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, me
looking
too.
at the Garuda itself, it's pretty. It's got some cut steps and all that. Maybe they're going to use that as a stage, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be incredible.
We're currently hearing the marching band playing trumpets for the welcoming. Yeah, and this is Muhammad bin Zayed.
Al Nahyan
Walking
from
through,
the
yes.
Emirates.
Yes, from the Emirates.
Yeah, Arab United Emirates. One of the very, very best friend of Indonesia, if I would say,
Yeah.
United Arab Emirates at this stage. And Mr. Joko Widodo himself is having a very good relationship with Mohammed bin Zayed at the moment. And before this one, they just finished inaugurating the biggest mosque in Solo, Central
in Solo.
Asia, which actually is the miniature of Abu Dhabi Mosque.
Yeah, from Indonesian artists, there's going to be a magnificent performance that will blow the leader's
Definitely.
mind.
But still, according to Tourism and Creative Economy Minister Sandiaga Uno, saying that it's still a secret on
What the
who will be performing
Yes.
and what
Also
the
the food.
performances will be like.
You know why I would say that this is going to be a spectacular show? Because the man behind this is actually Wisnu, the former Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy himself. And he did successfully organize the Indonesian night at the World Expo 2020 at Dubai. And it was just one of the very, I would say, incredible performance of Indonesia out there in Dubai.
We know that he always nails all the, organizing events
Yeah.
from Asian Games to the one in Dubai. You
World
said.
Expo.
Yeah, World Expo, and
The
then now, the
executions
execution
were
is
just
perfect.
magnificent.
Yep.
And this is outdoor. Imagine how the security would be like,
Yep.
just to make sure that all the nation leaders, as well as the international organization leaders and all of the other guests will be guarded, will have the security that they need, and hoping that there will be no rain falling tonight.
Oh, my fingers are
Amen to
crossed.
that,
Yeah.
yes.
So it hurts.
Just something to treat them, all the delegates, after a very packed day
Yes.
on the first day of the summit, having the opening and the first session, second session, where a lot of nation leaders have also addressed their concerns and deliveries as well during the summit. Usually, the talks that were done in closed doors will be continued, casually during gala dinner like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes what the committee is having a fuss and trouble with is organizing the tables and who sits on that same table.
Ah, yeah,
right?
that's true, Alia. That's a good point. Because every country has its concern.
That's right.
And uniting in the table can help solving them.
Definitely, especially we know that the setting internationally, globally, we know it's a
Yes.
lot of things happening.
That's true.
So yeah. And also during the summit tomorrow, we'll also see how the presidency of G20 will be then handed over to India. to Mr. Modi, who is ready to take the chair of presidency that is going to be held in India next year.
And also after the presidency of the G20, Indonesia will be holding the presidency of the ASEAN in 2023. So certainly in the course of a couple of years, we will have lots of momentous events in the history of the country as well.
I cannot stop thinking how historic this G20 summit in Indonesia this year. We have the geopolitical tension, the COVID-19 pandemic, the food insecurity in crisis, and also just this day, 15th of November 2022, the world population has just increased to 8 billion.
Oh wow.
Staggering number.
You know, so here it is. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres just arrived at the venue of the dinner reception, welcomed by
the trumpet,
marching
band,
military ceremony, something like that.
Military band.
The trumpet.
Everything is so well executed.
And there's the red carpet.
Yes. And of course, photo session.
Yeah. Very, very proud Indonesians to see the G20s being executed so well by the government and with the support of all of the Indonesian citizens as well. And we have acknowledged and received a lot of congratulations from many countries, how well Indonesia bridged the differences and holding this G20 summit amidst the situation that are very complex.
And also in this G20 summit, the United Nations also uttered lots of concerns and recommendations towards the meeting. This hope to be one of the momentous events in the world that could lead to a better direction and also a peace of the world.
We see that many of the world leaders wearing batik, or traditional clothing. And we hope that it can be promoted.
Definitely.
Because,
I mean, if Elon Musk can be sent that Sulawesi sort of batik, I'm sure it's not that hard to actually supply for all the delegates to wear as well Indonesian batik or Indonesian traditional costumes.
That's true. And we see that it's been different motives, right?
Yeah,
the batik.
Batik that all the delegates are wearing. Each of the delegates have different, unique ones.
Yes, from different provinces.
So now we are seeing the minister from Mexico, was that?
I think so.
At least this looks really, really nice, and the whole event have done, and the side events have done very, very well, held very well. The Indonesian government budgeted 674 billion rupiah, or that equals to 45 million US dollars for the G20 events. So that's a lot of expenditure, but it's really, really worth it.
Yep.
And here it is Paul Kagame from Rwanda being welcomed by the President of the Republic of Indonesia, and also followed by the Foreign Affairs Minister, Retno Marsudi. So ahead of the G20 summit, Indonesia has been preparing 6,100, more than 6,100 electric vehicles for the G20 summit. So it came from various brands and also models. Now the brands being Hyundai and also Wuling.
Wuling, yes.
Yeah.
Toyota.
Toyota as well.
I wonder how and what would they do with those electric vehicles right after the G20 summit and they include it? Because I want one of those cars.
Yes,
I
yeah,
want one
would
of
want
those
one
cars.
as well.
And I hope all the guests feel secured because for the event security, the Indonesian government deployed around 10,000 police officers and about 18,000 soldiers, including 6,000 soldiers from Kodam 9 Udayana headquartered in Bali. And shortly before, during and after the summit, flights to Bali's Igusti Ngurah Rai International Airport became restricted with limited operating hours for commercial aircraft and a ban against commercial aircraft staying overnight. So the government has also been saying very sorry, apologizing to all the tourists as well as the Bali citizens that during the two-day summit, their mobility will be a bit distracted and limited.
So one of the reasons why electric vehicles are being used as the official transportations for the G20 is because the G20 summit wants to emphasize on the importance of having the renewable energy in the world at the moment. That's why the usage of electric vehicles seems to be important and also monumental.
Yeah, it is to encourage people to use more green options.
Yeah.
Greener options, even though, yeah. And this is the
President.
South Korea president and his wife coming.
Looking very beautiful in their
Yeah,
batik.
looking very beautiful. And youthful as well, if I might add.
Oh, I think we saw him.
Yeah.
Mistakenly. It's
It was Fumio Kishida.
Fumio Kishida.
Mr.
from
Fumio
Japan
Kishida, the
and
Prime
the
Minister
First
of
Lady.
Japan,
Yep.
and
his wife.
So I'm really wondering who sits next to who.
Yes.
Okay, we see how warm it is. The reception will be just as casual and beautiful because of the performances. And we saw former Vice President Trisno with his wife also attending.
and former Vice President Yusuf Kala and Mrs. Mufidah Yusuf Kala.
That's right.
And our former president Megawati Soekarno Putri as well.
Yes. We also saw the House Speaker, the Indonesian House Speaker, Puan Maharani.
Yes.
Now, wearing yellow, also looking sharp.
Yes.
And to prepare for this event tonight, the traffic management in and out of the venue were remanaged. There was some blockage of cars from Nusa Dua to Garuda Wisnu Kencana 2 hours prior of the venue and 2 hours after the venue, just to make sure all the delegates can actually come and also leave the venue in a proper and accordingly.
Now we are seeing the Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Hsien Loong, just arrived at the venue wearing a cobalt blue batik.
I love that color.
Yeah.
On him, especially.
Yes, especially
Very
on him.
sharp and very suitable for him.
We are still currently waiting on who will be the next to arrive at the venue of the welcoming dinner reception at Garuda Wisnu Kencana.
So there you see a very exotic venue, and GWK, or the venue that we're now seeing as the venue of the gala dinner, is Garuda Wisnu Kencana. Garuda itself is actually the symbol of Indonesia. And in that venue also, there's the statue of the Wisnu god, or goddess, sorry, Wisnu god, who is riding on Garuda.
That's right. And if we talk about how tall is the monument, it's about 122 meter tall. Yeah, it's pretty gigantic.
Yeah, now we're currently seeing the Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
Yes.
What a selection of color, though. This is
Yeah, I like purple.
purple, yeah, very nice. Just to continue about the venue, GWK statue is one of the tallest monuments in the world, besides the Statue of Liberty in the United States, because its height, which reaches 120 meters, as you mentioned before, Maria. And it is located about in a 60-hectare cultural park, which has become an attraction for foreign guests who come to the Island of Gods. And this venue also provides a glimpse into Bali's fascinating heritage through the cultural performances, legendary folk stories, grand statues, and dramatic cinematic presentations.
Yes. And it was built in 1998. So it takes more than 20 years to build it.
And Noma Nuarte was the artist, the Balinese artist who actually designed this famous GWK statue. It's made of copper and brass and has 754 modules with 25 steel stegments weighing 900 tons with a steel weight of 1,300 tons. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And we see now one of the delegates also entering the venue and was greeted by the President, Joko Widodo.
Wearing another combination of colors. Blue and purple and green batik.
And now we're currently seeing the former President of the Republic of Indonesia, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono,
Chatting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Sandiaga Uno, wearing a traditional Balinese costume with the traditional headdress as well called udeng.
This can be a long-awaited gathering for all of the nation leaders as well, because of the pandemic that might just, limit everybody's travel to cross-border and, basically to anywhere. And now they meet in this very grand venue.
This is the Director General of WTO.
Okonjo Iweala.
Yes.
And we saw Mr. Kishida is having a chat.
With other world leaders.
Yes.
This is Sandiaga Uno, the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy. Arriving at the venue of the welcoming dinner reception at Garuda, Wisnu Kencana, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, with the striking purple batik.
Yeah. I love his batik.
Well,
yeah.
the coming of Justin Trudeau made everyone starstruck.
Yes,
seems
in the
like.
studio. Everyone is, like,
The very charming.
starstruck moment here.
Yeah.
I
Everyone was
really
cheering
like
when he
his
came
look.
in.
I really like his look tonight as well.
He spoke at the B20 summit yesterday.
Yes. The girls are still swooning over him.
Yeah. Maybe they want to have pictures as well with Mr.
Yes.
Trudeau. So the venue, particularly Lotus Pond, is where the gala dinner is now taking place. Because the Geweka, as we know, the compound is very big, but the Lotus Pond is where Mr. Joko Widodo actually chose for this venue to take place.
We're going to see who is the next world leader arriving.
Yes. More and more people coming, and this outdoor venue can actually have about 7,500 people in it. And if you were there, you will be surrounded by not hills, what do you call it? It's the
Cliff.
Cliff. Rock cliff.
Rock cliff.
Yes.
And currently we're seeing the leader from South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, just walking down the red carpet, being welcomed by the First Lady and also the President of the Republic of Indonesia. It seems like the color of purple being favored in this years of G20, worn by the delegates and also the state leaders.
Agree. Well, they say, Minister Sandiaga Uno said that they were giving options for the leaders to choose.
That's very nice.
So perhaps purple is the
Yeah,
favorite
their
color.
favorite color.
Yeah, this year.
So if you're currently seeing the location, as I was mentioning, is actually located in the middle of cliffs, like a run of cliffs. Basically, just a background story for you, that actually the location was a limestone mountain being carved into one big venue.
Isn't that
in
incredible?
which the structure, considered to be one of the tallest structure in Indonesia, is being put.
I love the selection of color here too.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Look at that.
Yellow and blue scarf.
Yeah, almost
So
like
beautiful.
goldish.
Yeah, goldish yellow. Yeah, it is the Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, and his wife, looking dazzling
Yeah,
with their
dazzling
choice of
and
colors. Yes.
This looks like almost like a red carpet in
Yes.
the Hollywood
Yeah,
setting.
traditional red carpet.
Traditional red carpet, yeah.
So here it is, Pedro Sanchez and Maria Begoña Gomez Fernandez. Prime Minister of Spain and
Bright and dazzling.
the wife. Again, we see another purple
Yes.
color.
Yeah. Who's the best dressed wearer tonight?
Oh, everyone should have won the
Wondering
best
who.
dress because they're looking so striking and gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Another purple.
Another purple. Yeah. So during this G20 summit, the Garuda has been closing its venue for international or even local tourists to visit for 4 days, starting from the November 12th until the November 15th, 2022, just for this summit, and making sure that all corners of it have been checked, security-wise, just to prepare for the gala dinner tonight.
Earlier, we saw the Foreign Affairs Minister of the United Mexican States, Marcelo Ebrard, representing the President of Mexico. You know what? The beauty of electric vehicles is that it is actually almost soundless.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is also a place where the Indonesian military can actually show its performance, sort of, or ceremony
Yeah.
to welcome all of the
World
honorable, distinguished guests that are attending tonight.
Walking the red carpet, this is the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese.
Wearing brown this time.
Yes.
Also, Albanese had very, very important bilateral meetings during the summit. He met with Xi Jinping to talk on trade.
And I'm really sure that the bilateral meeting between Australia and China should be attended by Penny Wong, one of the key personalities in Australia at the moment, considered to be one of the big brains of Australia these
Yeah.
days.
Albanese is one of the nation leaders who already confirmed his coming to the G20 summit quite early.
From last month or so?
Yeah, from last month we already heard that the Mr. Albanese would definitely be coming. So
It should have been
that's-
interesting because he was just recently appointed Prime Minister in Australia.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time that he
himself,
visited
yeah.
Indonesia.
No, this was not.
This is the second time as Prime Minister.
And we're still currently waiting
Yes. Another one
who
coming.
will be walking the red carpet next. Garuda Wisnu Kencana, or the location of the welcoming dinner reception tonight, is 200 hectares wide. I
Yeah.
mean, it is humongous.
And it is 122 tall. 22 meter tall. Wow. It's very wide in area and very gigantic in height.
Yeah, and it is planned to be attended by around 300 to 400 delegates of the G20. Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Minister Uno, admitted that he was asked to attend around 17, so it's quite early to take part in the dinner. He was reluctant, though, to give the details of the menu. But I'm sure it will be more of Indonesian menu or
Yes.
selections of menu, because it is where the attraction of Bali as well, the food.
You know, the menu is still to be kept a secret.
Yes.
And
And I bet they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
oh, I will enjoy it
Good.
myself
Yes.
if I could be there.
Indonesian specialties are going to be presented.
And judging from the flag in front of the car, I hope I'm right. This is the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi
Xi
Jinping.
Jinping.
One of the very, very important guests that are
Yes.
attending the G20 summit, Xi Jinping. And Indonesia has been very successful in creating such a media for Xi Jinping to meet with presidents worldwide for the very first time in person. We also saw how when Xi Jinping arrived yesterday at Garuda International Airport in Bali, he was welcomed very, very warmly by the Balinese dancers and also the contingents with the flag of Indonesia and China also at the airport where he landed yesterday.
So this is President Xi Jinping with the First Lady Peng Liyuan. So it is actually astonishing for me that the First Lady of the People's Republic of China was a Chinese soprano and contemporary folk singer. And looking so gorgeous, I was also being starstruck when she was walking down the stairs from the presidential aircraft. Yes. So it is also certainly a pivotal role for Xi Jinping as the president of the People's Republic of China, as the world leaders in this G20 summit has been pushing him to persuade Russia to walk into the
Peace
table. Yeah.
Talk peacefully for the ending the war
In Ukraine.
in Ukraine.
And the newly appointed Prime Minister of the United
Sunak.
Kingdom, Rishi
Rishi
Sunak.
Sunak wearing red.
And white.
It's more of a
Maroon? Not really. It's dark red.
It's like a fuchsia color.
fuchsia. Yeah, that's true.
fuchsia, yeah.
This is fuchsia.
Only 3 weeks appointed as Prime Minister of the UK. He is already at the international stage now here at the G20 summit.
I love, the relaxed
Yep.
vibe
Yeah,
and
with the
this
sleeves
outfit
up
of
and
Rishi
all that.
Sunak. Yeah, with the sleeve rolled, and then with moccasin, and also with a quite relaxed color of trouser.
I wonder though, would they have a meeting between UK and India? Because the appointment of Rishi Sunak was very much celebrated in India
In
as
India.
well. So looking forward to that would be
Yeah,
here
because
in the G20 summit.
This
Very
is the
close to Diwali when he was appointed.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
celebrating
true.
Diwali
Yeah,
as a
the
Prime
first
Minister.
Prime Minister of the United Kingdom
Yep.
of Indian descent.
That's right.
That should be monumental. So this is the Crown Prince
Saudi Arabia.
of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, just walked in. And if you see the traditional costumes of Indonesian President and the First Lady, there are lots of components in it because the structures, each structure actually symbolizes its own meaning. And all of those comprising to one believes that everything should actually go back to the Supreme God. And earlier we saw the Indonesian House Speaker Puan Maharani, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and the First Lady Peng Liyuan.
So today has been very, very packed of agendas for all the delegates of the G20. It was opened by the President, Mr. Joko Widodo, who is also the chair of Presidency of G20 this year, and continued with the first and second working sessions and ended with a gala dinner tonight. And President Joko Widodo began the G20 summit earlier today with the first session. And during the session, the G20 leaders and international organizations discussed about food and energy security. President Widodo mentioned that if the global economy is still unstable, it may cause food and energy insecurity due to high price of fertilizer and disturbed energy supply. So the G20 summit aims to launch the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which is believed as one of the keys to stabilize food price. In addition to that, the summit tries to find an agreement on how the fertilizer must be accessible and inclusive to global market.
Energy sector is one of the issues discussed in G20. And the summit continues to find a faster and better way to reach renewable energy and highlights war in Ukraine that affected the energy supply stability.
Wow, look at that.
Look at that.
The motto of
the motto
this
of
year's G20, the headline, recover
So
stronger.
laser lighting thing?
Recover together, recover stronger. I don't know
And
if
all the
it's...
flags.
Yeah.
It's not carved, I'm sure.
I was about to think that way, that it is carved.
And look at that,
it's
and
so
all the flags of the
beautiful,
delegate, of the nation flags that are the member of the G20.
Wow, the execution though.
Amazing, right?
We would love to be there.
Yes.
Wow. The lighting, decorations and everything, wow.
The one that we haven't seen, or probably we missed them, some of them are the Turkish President, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and also Ursula von der Leyen from the European Commission, Sun Yuk-sol
We haven't
from
seen Joe Biden though.
South Korea.
Yeah.
Yes, also
Joe
Joe
Biden
Biden
hasn't arrived yet.
from United States. So we're still currently waiting. I think it's going to be a long waiting game because we also haven't seen the delegations from Italy at the moment.
So Garuda itself is located in Jimbaran in Bali.
And Jimbaran in Bali is best known for its seafood.
Yes.
Very fresh ones.
Yeah, whenever we visit Bali and we want to eat that grilled seafood, we have to go to Jimbaran and eat by the sea.
Yes, with the view and the breeze.
Oh, so this is Sergei Lavrov.
Yes, the foreign minister of Russia.
Russia.
And looking great and healthy.
Another purple tone.
Another purple tone.
With Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi welcoming him to the event. So the particular venue of this wedding reception is actually sitting in a 200 hectares wide of land, which used to be a limestone, like an array of limestone mountain.
And then they carved the middle?
And they carve in the middle, yes. And it has been a venue for lots of events ever since, probably, if I'm not mistaken, more than 15 years ago. Since 15 years ago.
1998?
Yes, 1998.
It was completed,
Yeah.
but this took a long time for Nyoman
28 years.
28 years,
Total.
and a lot of people were actually having a concern that this is just a waste of money.
Yes.
But look at it now.
Yeah.
This is like the grandest, one of the grandest
Yeah.
venue
Very grande.
in Southeast
Majestic,
Asia.
majestic,
Even in the world.
rather.
Yeah. Modi is here, Mr.
The Prime Minister of
Prime
India,
Minister
Narendra Modi.
also wearing
Another purple.
Also wearing purple tone.
Yes.
What is with the purple color
Purple tone
today?
of color.
And greeted by Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia,
Yes,
Ms.
Mrs. Retno Marsudi.
That's right. The serenading team, always ready to greet every delegate that comes. So this is not something easy to prepare for this. And as we mentioned before, one of the key persons behind this is actually the former Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Mr. Wisnu Tama, who is the creative chief director, whatever you want to name it, but he's the man behind the spectacular event tonight. And during the rehearsal yesterday, he would actually invite the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Sri Mulyani, to inspect the venue and also the preparations for tonight's gala dinner. And Mrs. Sri Mulyani, she was thrilled to see,
She was
astonished to see, even though yesterday was only the rehearsal, because this really represents Indonesia.
So we're currently seeing that the President of Republic of Indonesia being seated next to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Because next year, the G20 will be hosted by India.
Yeah, so it's
Certainly.
going to be a lot of talk.
I know.
Yeah. Maybe a lot of tips from Mr.
Yes.
Garuda to
Yes.
Mr. Modi.
Yes.
Seems like
And we're currently hearing the background music, the
Yeah.
background welcoming music.
perhaps it's going to start soon.
Yeah, I think so, because we've been
Can
waiting
hear-
for quite some time.
We can hear gamelan playing.
Yeah,
Gamelan
that's
in the
actually the traditional Balinese musical instruments being played in the background
Yeah.
while welcoming the delegations and also the head of states in this reception.
I love the sound that it's playing. It's very soothing.
It is, certainly. So about 300 to 400 people are attending the dinner at Lotus Pond, a part of the GWK cultural area. And the delegates who are not attending, specifically the G20 participants who are not attending the event tonight, can have dinner at a different restaurant which is called the Jendela Bali.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may we greet you all with the Balinese way of Om Swastiastu, which is a prayer so that health and prosperity are always upon us. Welcome to the welcoming dinner of the G20 Summit.
My heart trembles.
Today is a special day as we have all of you here joining us in the paradise island of Bali. It is even more special as today is recognized by the Balinese Hindu as Anggara Kasih that celebrates peace and love. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. To commence this evening's G20 welcoming dinner, we kindly invite to convey his welcoming remarks the President of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Joko Widodo.
Leaders of G20 countries, invitees, international organization, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your presence here at Garuda Wisnu Kencana. In Balinese mythology, this statue depicts love, responsibility, courage, and devotion. These are our duties to the world and humanity. Please enjoy the dishes that we have prepared for you. I hope it is not too spicy for your excellencies. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we now kindly invite you to enjoy the finest delicacies that we have prepared especially for all of you this evening. We wish you an enjoyable dinner.
Fresh because it's only sliced shallots.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't mash or blend it in a way. So you have to eat the shallots just like it is. Combined with other things like
Yep.
the
It's oily but
chili.
fresh.
It's oily as well because it's got an oil
Yep.
added to it. Some flavorings.